Welcome to episode number 7 of the SilverFox Hospitality Insights. I'm Stephen Hickmore, and today we're going to talk about those restaurant secrets that they don't always tell you. So have you ever sat in a restaurant and looked at the menu and wondered, am I ordering the right thing here? I'm normally confused by menus, especially menus that are large and cumbersome, and I never know quite what I want, so I tend to be guided by the waiter or guided by the menu. Well, today I'm going to let you in on a few restaurant secrets the industry doesn't always tell you. It's nothing scandalous, just a few insider tricks that might make you see your next dining experience in a completely different way. So let's start with the menu. Menus in good restaurants are not just lists. They're carefully engineered. Every item has a role to play. Have you ever noticed how your eye lands on certain dishes first? That's deliberate. Restaurants use layout, spacing, and boxes. The boxes we often call golden frames to draw your attention to high-profit items. Of course, the restaurant wants to make profit. They want to make you feel good, but they also want to guide you towards those high-profit items. Now, those high-profit items are not always the most expensive. But here's a subtle one. Many menus don't use currency symbols anymore. So you'll see 150 instead of $1.50 or Rand 150. It seems like a small thing, but psychologically, it reduces the feeling of spending money. And that makes you more comfortable ordering. I've tried it on menus, and this really does work. Now, here's something even more interesting. The price positioning trick. You'll often see one very expensive item on the menu, far higher than the rest. That's not always there to be sold. It's there to make everything else feel more reasonably priced. So suddenly there's a $295 steak, and it feels like a good deal compared to the $495 steak, the one sitting just above it. Now let's talk about your waiter. If your waiter is well trained, they're not just taking orders, they're guiding you through your entire experience. So when they say something like, the chef's special is amazing tonight, it could be because it truly is, or because the kitchen wants to sell more of that dish. And when they asked still or sparkling, which is actually my worst, I hate being asked still or sparkling. I'll normally respond with just good old tap water with ice will be perfect. Or when you're ordering a whiskey, is that a double, sir? This is called assumptive upsell. It's subtle and it works. And here's another one you may notice. The pause. A good waiter will give you just enough time with the menu before returning. Why? Because decisions made slightly under pressure tend to be quicker and often more profitable. So now let's look at menu descriptions. There's many different ways of describing menus. I know these days I tend to go for fairly simple descriptions, but if you think about the term slow braised or wood fired, or even grandma's recipe, these words create an emotion. They tell a story, and they can completely change how you perceive the same dish. In fact, people consistently rate food higher when it has a more descriptive, nostalgic, or artisanal name. And yes, half the experience happens before the food arrives. Speaking of arrival, have you ever noticed how your food always seems to come out looking perfect? That's because the kitchens are designed for consistency, not improvisation. This isn't MasterChef. Many elements are prepped ahead of time, sauces, garnishes, even partially cooked components, so that when service begins, everything can be finished quickly and beautifully. It's not cutting corners, it's precision. Now here's a fun one. The menu sweet spot. Most restaurants position their mid-range items exactly where your eyes naturally rest, which is usually in the center or top right of the menus. Why? Because that's where you're most likely to choose from. Not the cheapest, not the most expensive, but right in the middle. Let's talk about bread. I'm a bit of a traditionalist, to be honest. I love having a bread basket on the table, and it's normally complimentary. It's not just a nice gesture, but it helps take the edge off your hunger. It slows you down and keeps you comfortable while you browse the menu. A relaxed guest is far more likely to order more and enjoy the experience. Now, here's one that might surprise you: background music. Restaurants carefully choose their music, tempo, and volume. Slower music encourages you to linger longer. Faster music can increase table turnover. Even lighting plays a role. Soft lighting makes you feel relaxed and indulgent, which often leads to ordering dessert. And that dessert trolley that is parked at your table is very hard to resist if you're relaxed. And finally, the most popular dish. When a waiter says this is our most popular item, it might be true, but it's also one of the easiest ways to help you make a decision, because we all like to feel we're making a safe, smart choice. Now, before you start thinking restaurants are being manipulative with every move you make, here's the reality. There aren't tricks in a negative sense. They're part of the craft of hospitality. Great restaurants blend psychology, service, and storytelling to create an experience that feels effortless. And when it's done well, you don't notice any of this. You have a fantastic meal. So next time you sit down at a restaurant, take a second look at the menu. Notice what stands out. Listen to how things are suggested. You might just spot a few of these secrets in action. So thanks for listening to the SilverFox podcast. If you want more information or more articles on the hospitality industry, go to my blog, which is hospitality.co.za, and I look forward to the next episode.